This lecture is very meaningful to all pastors.
यो पाठ सबै पास्टरहरूको लागि उपयोगी छ।
As we are going to go over the lifestyles of Moses.
जसै हामी मोसाको सेवकाईको जीवनलाई हेर्ने छौं।
In dealing with the majority baby Christians.
जसले अधिकांश बालक विश्वासीहरूलाई अगुवाई गरेका थिए।
That is the shadow of New Testament pastors who serves majority baby Christians.
यो चाहिँ अहिले नयाँ करारका पास्टरहरूको चिन्ह हो जसले अधिकांश बालक विश्वासीहरूको सेवा गर्दछन्।
Good examples showing to us.
यसले हामीलाई एउटा असल उदाहरण देखाएको छ।
Moses was very busy with daily pastoral and spiritual ministries.
यहाँ मोसा दैनिक पास्टरीय र आत्मिकी सेवाकाईमा धेरै व्यस्त थिए।
In the previous lecture, we studied that Moses was failed in observing that Passover feast.
अघिल्लो पाठमा हामीले मोसा निस्तार चाड मनाउन चुकेका विषयमा हेरेका थियौं।
He only observed only first 2 years, remaining 38 years time. We cannot find any record of it.
उनले सुरुका 2 वर्षसम्म त माने तर पछिका 38 वर्षमा उनले निस्तार मानेको कुनै तथ्याङ्क छैन।
Then we are wondering why.
हामी छक्क परेका छौं किन होला भनेर।
I have discovered that he was so busy. He was a busy leader with his pastoral ministries. Not only that, spiritual ministries.
मैले यो पत्ता लगाएँ कि उनी आफ्नो पास्टरीय अनि आत्मिक सेवाकाईमा अति व्यस्त भए।
Not able to keep that key messages, key doctrines on Christology, and especially the doctrine of salvation part, in a very precise and detailed way, able to train his people, to be spiritually mature.
यो दुईवटा सेवामा व्यस्त भएको कारणले उनले आफ्ना मानिसहरूलाई आत्मिकी वृद्धिको निम्ति सबैभन्दा महत्त्वपूर्ण विषय क्रिस्टको सिद्धान्त र मुक्तिको सिद्धान्त सिकाउन सकेनन्।
Often those busy pastors have similar problems.
प्राय व्यस्त अगुवाहरूमा यस्तै समस्याहरू आउँछन्।
In what areas Moses confronted with these problems here?
अब हामी मोसाले कस्तो समस्याको सामना गर्नु पर्यो त भन्ने विषयमा हेर्ने छौं।
Moses was a very strong pastoral leader.
मोसा एकदमै बलियो पास्टरीय अगुवा थिए।
Serving 2 million so-called Christians, newborn Christians.
जसले करिब 20 लाख नयाँ विश्वासीहरूको सेवा गर्थे।
Under that circumstances, these people constantly asking for their physical needs.
यस्तो अवस्थामा यी मानिसहरू लगातार उनीहरूका भौतिक आवश्यकताहरू पूर्तिको माग गरिरहन्थे।
Water, food, in Numbers 11 verses 1 and 9.
गन्ती 11 को 1 देखि 9 मा पानी र खानाको माग गरेका कुराहरू छन्।
All kinds of emotional needs, relational needs, family needs.
त्यति मात्र होइन, उनीहरू हर किसिमका भावनात्मक आवश्यकता, सम्बन्धका आवश्यकता, पारिवारिक आवश्यकता पूर्तिको माग गर्दथे।
That is very typical in our pastoral ministries.
त्यो प्राय हाम्रो पास्टरीय सेवामा हुने कुराहरू हुन्।
So he was busy with that. He has been occupied with all these daily requirement, physical part.
त्यसैले उनी यस्ता भौतिक दैनिक आवश्यकता पूरा गर्न व्यस्त थिए।
He could not even dare to teach them that key Christian doctrines to them.
जसको कारण उनले ती मानिसहरूलाई आधारभूत ईसाई सिद्धान्तहरू पनि सिकाउने फुर्सद पाएनन्।
Because the people are not ready to receive those key messages.
किनकि मानिसहरू ती महत्त्वपूर्ण शिक्षा ग्रहण गर्न तयार नै थिएनन्।
They've been occupied by their daily physical needs.
तिनीहरू आफ्नै दैनिक आवश्यकताले नै हैरान थिए।
Therefore, they could not even no way, and they could not afford to looking back over their previous slavery life and the miraculous, deliverance out of that slavery.
जसको कारण उनीहरूले आफ्नो पुरानो दासत्वको जीवन अनि त्यहाँबाटको आश्चर्यपूर्ण छुटकारा जस्ता कुराहरू सबै भुलिसकेका थिए।
They've been so much focused on their daily life and their problems.
तिनीहरू एकदमै आफ्नो दैनिक जीवन र तिनीहरूका समस्याहरूमा केन्द्रित भएका थिए।
That is a typical circumstances apply to our ministries.
हामीहरूको सेवाकाईमा पनि यस्तै समस्याहरू आउन सक्छन्।
So Moses was not the exception. He's been occupied by these issues.
मोसा पनि यसबाट अलग हुन सकेनन्, उनी पनि यी कुराहरूमा अल्झिए।
In addition to that,
त्यति मात्र होइन,
many so-called junior leaders, they are raising questioning over Moses' leadership.
तर साना अगुवाहरूले पनि मोसाको नेतृत्वमा प्रश्न उठाउन थाले।
The story was in Numbers chapter 11 and verses 10 to 15. There are many areas in the Bible.
जुन कुरा गन्ती 11 को 10 देखि 15 मा उल्लेख छन् अनि बाइबलमा धेरै ठाउँमा पनि हामी पाउन सक्छौं।
So Moses was confronted with those junior leaders who has been complaining, raising leadership questions, all kinds of negative remarks made toward Moses' leadership.
मोसालाई साना अगुवाहरूले विरोध गर्ने र उनको नेतृत्वको प्रश्न उठाउने गर्न थाले।
So Moses was very much under the depression and severe stress.
जसको कारण मोसा एकदमै तनाव र दबावमा पुगे।
Here his brother, his older brother Aaron and Miriam criticizing Moses that why you have a lady from Cushite.
त्यति मात्र होइन, उसको दाजु हारोन र दिदी मिरियमले पनि कुशी श्रीमतीको कारण विरोध गरे।
We are not sure whether his first wife died or not, but Moses had a second wife.
मोसाकी पहिली श्रीमती मरेकी थिइन् कि थिएनन् हामीलाई थाहा छैन, तर मोसाले दोस्री श्रीमती ल्याएका थिए।
His sister and his brother complained.
जसको कारण उसको दाजु र दिदीले उसको विरोध गरे।
When Jesus appeared to them, that don't do it.
अनि येशू देखा पर्नुभयो र उनीहरूलाई हकार्नु भयो।
Because of that complaint, what had happened to Miriam?
त्यसपछि मिरियमलाई के भयो?
She became a leopard for 7 days.
उनी 7 दिनसम्म कुष्ठरोगी भइन्।
Numbers chapter 12 verses 1 through 16.
यो घटना गन्ती 12 को 1 देखि 16 मा छ।
You imagine how Moses were in the leadership, stress, frustration.
तपाई अनुमान गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ मोसा आफ्नो नेतृत्वमा कति तनावग्रस्त थिए होलान् भनेर।
Not able to even teach those key Christology to their people.
जसको कारण उनले आफ्ना मानिसहरूलाई महत्त्वपूर्ण शिक्षा पनि सिकाउन सकेनन्।
He's been busy with daily problems.
उनी दैनिक समस्या समाधान गर्न व्यस्त भए।
Not only that, Moses sent out 12 spies to where? Land of Canaan.
त्यति मात्र होइन, मोसाले कनानमा 12 जना जासुसहरू पठाए।
How many of them came back with a positive response? Only 2.
सकारात्मक प्रतिक्रिया लिएर कति जना आए? जम्मा 2 जना।
Who those are? Caleb and Joshua.
ती को हुन्? कालेब र यहोशू।
10 of them brought back with negative response.
तर बाँकी 10 जनाले नकारात्मक प्रतिक्रिया लिएर आए।
Which caused Moses such a stress.
जसको कारण उनलाई धेरै तनाव भयो।
He had received that promise that, okay, you carry your people to the land of Canaan.
किनकि उनले यी मानिसहरूलाई कनान देशमा लिएर जाने प्रतिज्ञा पाएका थिए।
These 10 leaders brought with that negative response.
तर 10 जना अगुवाहरूले खराब समाचार लिएर आए।
You can imagine, his leadership was at stake.
तपाईं कल्पना गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ कि उनको नेतृत्व कति समस्यामा थियो होला।
It is very common to pastors.
यो प्राय सबै पास्टरको जीवनमा हुन सक्ने कुरा हो।
With these pastoral ministries, okay, at the near the end here, he was so depreciated under the stress and anxiety. People still kept on asking him, water, food, water.
उनको 40 वर्षको सेवकाईको अन्ततिर उनी अति धेरै तनावमा थिए। मानिसहरू अझै पानी र खानाको मात्र माग गर्दै थिए।
He allowed to say to the rock.
मोसाले चट्टानलाई हुकुम मात्र गर्नुपर्ने थियो।
Who is the rock?
त्यो चट्टान को थियो?
Jesus.
येशू।
Paul says 1 Corinthians 10:4 said the rock was Jesus.
पावलले पहिलो कोरिन्थी 10 को 4 मा लेखेका छन् कि त्यो चट्टान येशू हुनुहुन्थ्यो।
He should said to the rock, the rock, Jesus, would you give us a water?
उनले चट्टान अर्थात येशूलाई हामीलाई पानी दिनुहोस् मात्र भन्नुपर्ने थियो।
But instead of that, because of his stress and depression and emotional disorder, he just all of a sudden hit the rock 2 times.
तर अति तनाव र रिसको कारण मोसाले त्यो चट्टानलाई 2 पटक हिर्काए।
That is very common, understandable, okay, so-called holy leader, pastor, response.
यो चाहिँ एउटा असल र समर्पित सेवकको स्वाभाविक प्रतिक्रिया हुन सक्छ।
It happened to me and to you, all the pastors.
यो तपाईं र म अनि सबै पास्टरहरूलाई हुन सक्छ।
It is very understandable because you can see Bible shows in the life of Moses, who was such a holy man, okay, special man in the eyes of God, practicing this kind of emotional response toward even to Jesus.
यो एकदमै स्वीकार्य छ किनकि बाइबलले देखाउँछ कि मोसा जो परमेश्वरको एक विशेष मानिस थिए तर पनि भावनामा येशूसँग यस्तो प्रतिक्रिया गरेका छन्।
Because of that, Jesus said at the end there that because of that, you cannot enter the land of Canaan.
पछि येशूले भन्नुभयो यसको कारण तिमी प्रतिज्ञाको देशमा पस्न पाउने छैनौ।
In the response of these 10 spies,
यी 10 जना जासुसहरूको खबरले
it's very interesting here. I'm gonna make you guys stay in this wilderness for 40 years because of their negative response.
तिनीहरूको नकारात्मक खबरको कारण म तिमीहरूलाई यो उजाड स्थानमा 40 वर्ष बस्न लगाउने छु।
Counting this, I've sent you to investigate the land for 40 days.
मैले तिमीहरूलाई 40 दिनसम्म भेद लिन पठाएको थिएँ।
I will count 1 day equals to 1 year.
त्यो 1 दिन बराबर 1 वर्ष हुनेछ।
That makes 40 years.
जुन 40 वर्ष हुनेछ।
Therefore, your people will stay in the wilderness for 40 years.
त्यसै कारण यी मानिसहरू उजाड स्थानमा 40 वर्ष रहनेछन्।
Because of your negative response.
जुन तिमीहरूको खराब समाचारको कारण हो।
Right here in Numbers chapter 14, 33 to 34.
यो कुरा गन्ती 14 को 33 र 34 मा छ।
Not only pastoral ministry, also he was busy with spiritual ministries.
पास्टरीय सेवामा मात्र होइन तर मोसा आत्मिक सेवामा पनि व्यस्त थिए।
Constant prayer life. He was busy with that.
उनी बारम्बार प्रार्थनाको जीवनमा व्यस्त थिए।
Jehovah God, Jesus, in his mighty power, asking Moses to come on the Mount Sinai.
किनकि यसु यहोवा परमेश्वरले आफ्नो शक्तिमा मूसालाई प्रार्थनाको निम्ति सिनै पर्वतमा बोलाउनु भएको थियो।
In order to fellowship with Moses, he was kept on asking him to come upon the Mount Sinai.
मूसासँग संगति गर्नको निम्ति परमेश्वरले उनलाई बारम्बार सिनै पर्वतमा बोलाउनुहुन्थ्यो।
According to those Bible reference, I discovered that he went up to the Mount Sinai at least 5 times.
बाइबलमा हेर्दा मैले यो पत्ता लगाएँ कि मूसा कम्तीमा पनि 5 पटक सिनै पर्वतमा चढे।
Out of 5 times, 2 times he spent 40 days.
5 पटकमा 2 पटक चाहिँ उनले माथि 40 दिन बिताएका छन्।
Especially the fifth time, he spent 40 days in fasting, not eating food, drinking, no drinking water.
विशेष गरी 5औं पटक माथि जाँदा उनी अन्न र पानी बिना 40 दिन उपवासमा बिताएका थिए। 5औं पटक सिनै पर्वतमा जाँदा पूरा उपवास बसेका थिए।
Out of 5 times, number 4th times 30 days, number 5th time 30 days with complete fasting.
5 पटकमा चौथो पटक 40 दिन अनि 5औं पटक उपवास सहित 40 दिन यसरी उनी प्रार्थनामा धेरै व्यस्त भएका थिए।
He has received all kinds of word of God.
उनले हर प्रकारका परमेश्वरका आज्ञाहरू पाएका थिए।
See, 10 commandments,
10 आज्ञाहरू,
rules and regulations, ordinances.
नीति नियम र विधिहरू।
Chapter 20, chapter 21 all the way to 24. Exodus.
प्रस्थान 20 देखि 25 अध्याय।
He had received all details on tabernacle.
त्यति मात्र होइन, उनले पवित्र वासस्थानको पूर्ण विवरण पाएका थिए।
Exodus chapter 25 to 31. It's a long story. So he was busy with writing all these details.
प्रस्थान 25 देखि 31 अध्यायसम्म एकदमै लामो कहानी छ। यसरी उनी सबै कुरा विस्तृत रूपमा लेख्न व्यस्त थिए।
He went down to camp. He discovered his people was worshipping golden calf in Exodus chapter 32.
जसै उनी आज्ञाहरू पाएर झरे, आफ्ना मानिसहरूले सुनको बाछो बनाएर पूजेको भेटे। प्रस्थान 32 मा।
So he was very angry at them.
उनी तिनीहरूसँग एकदमै रिसाए।
All kinds of problems. Here, pastoral problems, spiritual problems among his people here.
आफ्ना मानिसहरूको बीचमा पास्टरीय समस्या, हर किसिमका आत्मिक समस्या।
In the midst of all this, in Exodus chapter 40, he actually physically built the tabernacle.
यी सबै समस्याको बीचमा पनि प्रस्थान 40 मा उनले पवित्र वासस्थान निर्माण गरे।
Church construction.
यो मण्डली भवन निर्माण हो।
Not only that, he was busy with the writings.
त्यति मात्र होइन, उनी लेख्ने कुरामा पनि व्यस्त थिए।
He wrote Genesis, Exodus. It's very long letters. And he wrote Leviticus. And he wrote Numbers. And he wrote Deuteronomy.
उनले उत्पत्ति, प्रस्थान, लेवी, गन्ती र व्यवस्थाका पुस्तकहरू लेखे।
How many books?
कतिवटा पुस्तक?
5 books.
5 वटा।
It's a long books.
एकदमै लामो पुस्तकहरू।
At the time, no such a printing.
त्यो समयमा किताब छाप्ने सुविधा थिएन।
Not, clear, pens like we do have.
अहिले हामीसँग भएको जस्तो कलम पनि थिएन।
His age was near 100 years plus and minus. Very old.
उनको उमेर पनि 100 वर्ष जति पुगिसकेको थियो, एकदमै वृद्ध अवस्थामा।
The reason we've been discussing on these issues there, because the leadership with the baby Christians, he could not have enough time and energy to teach his Christians, his babies to grow.
हामी यी कुराहरू यस हेतुले गर्दैछौँ कि उनको व्यस्तताको कारण आफ्ना बालक विश्वासीहरूलाई आत्मिकी रूपमा बढ्ने शिक्षाहरू सिकाउने समय भएन उनीसँग।
Enough energy to teach them Christology and doctrine of salvation by way of observing the Passover feast.
निस्तार चाड मनाउँदै क्रिस्टको सिद्धान्त र मुक्तिको सिद्धान्त सिकाउने शक्ति पनि उनीसँग भएन।
Those pastors who are many congregations, typically baby congregations, okay, with the tabernacle building, good size of buildings, but very busy with its ministries, busy with spiritual matters, but not enough energy and time for teaching them core doctrines of Christian theology.
अहिले पनि ठुलो मण्डली भवन अनि धेरै संख्यामा बालक विश्वासीहरूले भरिएको मण्डलीको पास्टरहरू सेवकाईमा व्यस्त भएर ईसाई विश्वासको महत्त्वपूर्ण शिक्षाहरू सिकाउने समय र शक्ति हुन्न।
Throughout the church history, you can see those so-called well-known, successful pastors, yet you will see congregations are spiritually all babies.
ईसाई इतिहासमै हामी यो कुरा देख्न सक्छौं कि सफल सेवक र पास्टरहरू छन् तर उनीहरूका अधिकांश विश्वासीहरू बालक नै छन्।
Don't criticizing them, okay? You just understand them.
उनीहरूको खण्डन नगर्नु तर बुझ्ने प्रयास गर्नुहोस्।
Majority baby Christians, but within that community, you will see by the grace of God, key matured Christians inside.
अधिकांश बालक विश्वासी भए तापनि परमेश्वरको अनुग्रहमा त्यो भित्र पनि कति परिपक्व विश्वासीहरू हुन सक्छ।
We call them remnants always hidden inside of that baby occupied majority community.
उनीहरू न्यून संख्यामा हुनेछन् जसलाई बचेकाहरू भनिन्छ जो बहुसंख्यक बालकहरूको बीचमा लुकेका हुन्छन्।
By the grace of God, Caleb, by the grace of God, Joshua, type of leaders inside. But minority.
परमेश्वरको अनुग्रहले कालेब र यहोशू जस्ता अगुवाहरू त्यो समूहभित्र लुकेका हुन्छन् तर न्यून हुनेछन्।
Here, because of the striking the rock 2 times, Jesus said to him that you cannot enter the Canaan.
मोसाले चट्टानलाई 2 पटक हिर्काएको कारण परमेश्वरले त कनानमा पस्न पाउने छैनस् भन्नुभयो।
It revealed us that in the church, in the church period, in New Testament time, there will be this kind of leaders.
यसले हामीलाई यो सिकाउँछ कि नयाँ करारमा पनि यस प्रकारका अगुवाहरू हुनेछन्।
You just accept them, respect them as they are.
त्यसैले उनीहरूलाई जस्ताको तस्तै आदर गर्नुहोस् र स्वीकार गर्नुहोस्।
Do not give them any criticism because they are called for that purpose.
तिनीहरूको कुरा काट्ने काम नगर्नुहोस् किनकि उनीहरूको बोलावट नै त्यही हो।
Joshua leadership is different.
यहोशूको अगुवापन फरक हुन्छ।
So this lecture tells us Moses' leadership and the congregation.
यो पाठमा हामीले मोसाको अगुवापन र उनका मानिसहरू बारे सिक्यौं।
For that reason, he could not observe the Passover feast annually at least for 40 times.
यो कारणले उनी वार्षिक रूपमा कम्तीमा 40 पटक मनाउनु पर्ने निस्तार मान्न सकेनन्।